The last time I talked about the iPhone 12, it was about the form factor changes, because that's supposedly all that matters in a phone these days. If the display size changes, then it's actually a real change, because we're getting smaller iPhones, we're getting bigger iPhones. That's what a lot of people want to talk about, but I think that's something that at first glance makes a big difference, but then you'll get used to it very quickly. Even though we have a few 6.1-inch iPhones coming back, they're more than likely going to have squared off edges and not sit in the same footprint that the iPhone 11 and 10R did, because Apple's got to sell them cases. So if you make the phone different shape from the last gen, you can sell all your cases again, right? Makes perfect sense to me. But I think it's important to remember that this is also going to be a big year for connectivity improvements as well as performance changes. So I'll be detailing what I mean by that now. Let's begin. So the first one I just want to get out of the way, because you guys know my opinion on 5G. I don't think it's necessary, and I basically think Qualcomm is forcing all smartphone makers in the US to have to adopt 5G, which does cost more, because look at the Galaxy S20, you know? They could not release the Exynos version of their phone in the US, which is cheaper, as we're seeing overseas. They're saying, no, if you want the Qualcomm Snapdragon chip, you have to have 5G, and it has to be more expensive. So that's why all of the S20 lineup has to have 5G by default, and Qualcomm's kind of doing a similar thing with the iPhone, because while Apple is in control of the actual processors in their iPhones, Qualcomm is now taking over the modem production. So Intel's not making modems anymore, since Qualcomm basically has a monopoly on this unless Apple starts developing their own modems. Qualcomm is saying all the new iPhones have to have 5G. It's essentially a difference of, do you want the cheaper 5G or the more expensive 5G, both of which no one's really going to notice without opening the Ookla speed test app. I'm not happy about this. If there was a version of the iPhone 12 that didn't have 5G, but I could still get all of the display and camera features, I would 100% take that one, but it sounds like it's out of Apple's jurisdiction at this point, so this is why you should probably expect the next-gen iPhones to go up in price a little bit, because they're being forced to adopt the 5G modems on these things. So that's step one of connectivity, though I'm hoping, unlike every other company out there that has to incorporate the brand name 5G whenever they release a phone that has 5G support, even if it's like standard, like they have to mention, it's the S20 Ultra 5G. It's like they all have 5G. You don't have to bring it up every single time. We didn't have the iPhone 5 4G. No, they just called it iPhone 5. I'm hoping Apple does that this year. They're like, yes, it can do 5G, but we're not going to incorporate that into the brand, because that's stupid. They did it with the iPhone 3G, but that was a long time ago. It's not that Apple anymore. And also 5G makes very little difference. So again, it's gonna have it. Not excited about that. Don't care about that, but it will have 5G. Outside of that though, let's also talk about this more recent report of 60 gigahertz Wi-Fi, which is short range. It's supposed to quadruple the bandwidth of typical Wi-Fi connectivity, and this is something I think I actually will use, which is why I'm excited for it, because the iPhone is likely going to be one of the first devices that supports this short-range Wi-Fi, which will apparently take advantage of things like AirDrop and be able to share high-resolution videos and photos much faster, as long as the device is not too far away from the device you're sharing data with. So the technical term for this Wi-Fi standard is 802.11a. That's literally how it's spelt, so that's how I'm gonna say it. But it's just a huge connectivity upgrade that's probably going to be exclusive to the iPhone for a while, that no one else is going to have. So Android and Samsung can have their own AirDrop competitors all they want, but I think a big portion of the iPhone event we have in September is going to be designated for, here's all of the connectivity upgrades we're providing with the iPhone this year. So it's not just aesthetic differences, you're also getting that faster cellular and faster short-range Wi-Fi. When it comes to just standard Wi-Fi, obviously, I don't think there's going to be a new Wi-Fi 7 announcement this year that's going to make it super fast, but connectivity should be a big upgrade as well. And another big performance thing that a lot of people I don't think are thinking about when they think about the next iPhone is the A14 chip. It's been long rumored for many years now that in 2020 Apple will release their first 5nm chip, which means increased power efficiency, increased performance across the board, and this is, I think, potentially Apple's secret weapon for the Pro model of iPhones, because in order for Apple to keep up with all of their Android competitors now, we have OnePlus embracing 90 Hz and now 120 Hz on their upcoming phones. Samsung supports 120 Hz displays on the S20, but that comes with a few strings attached, because while I'm really excited to get my S20 Ultra, in fact, I should be getting it very soon, that'll probably be my next video, is unboxing it. They have 120 Hz capability, but because the Snapdragon chip isn't that efficient with powering a display with that many pixels at that refresh rate, anyone who turns on 120 Hz has reported significant decrease in battery performance. So a lot of people are just leaving 120 hertz off because they experience significantly worse battery life, even if it is locked at 1080p. So that's a huge disadvantage, I think, that you have when you're outsourcing your processors to Qualcomm, because they don't know how to optimize things as well, and Apple's been leading the silicon game for a long time now. So with Apple's prioritization of power efficiency, which is going to be maximized with a 5nm chip, that means that if Apple does want to keep up with market trends, with all of their most popular competitors now supporting 120 hertz, please Apple, please give in and just beat them down with that, because you've been doing promotion for years on the iPad Pro. You've proven that it doesn't really make that huge a difference in battery performance. You were able to bring 120 hertz to the iPads with the same battery life as before. Prove to those competitors that you can do the same thing with the iPhone, and I think this could be a huge advantage that the new iPhones, the Pro models, will have over the S20 lineup, is that they'll have ProMotion out of the box standard. You don't have to downscale the resolution to 1080p. You don't have to go into settings and turn it on or anything like that. I would say, sure, provide an option for 120 hertz to be turned off if someone really wants to maximize battery life, but my guess is similar to the performance we've seen with the iPad Pros, is that with the A14 chip, you'll be able to turn ProMotion on or off, and it really won't make that big a difference in battery performance, because with a variable refresh rate of being able to lower it down when not really utilizing 120 frames a second and then turn it all the way up when you do want to utilize it, this is the advantage of designing your CPUs in-house. This is something Apple has over everybody, and if they wanted to do 120 hertz right, you know, because there's no way Apple's going to be doing it first. In fact, with all the other flagships Apple's competing with, they're probably going to be one of the last companies to adopt 120 hertz on their phones, but they could do it better than everyone, because it would mean no giant loss in battery performance. You could still bring over that same battery life that we get on our 11 Pros right now, but also support that buttery smooth, rich display, and I think that will be mostly possible from the A14 chip, if, that's a big if, Apple decides to go forward with 120 hertz, which I definitely think they should on the iPhone Pros, you know. When it comes to the cheaper models, where you're just trying to get the job done, they don't need to have the best specs in the world, you're just trying to make them affordable, of course, just leave those at 60 hertz. They don't need to be overkill, but those Pro models, which are going to cost well over $1,000, because we're expecting price hikes this year. Anytime you add 5G to something, it never gets much cheaper. Plus, it's display and form factor changes this year, and any time in Apple's history where they introduce new form factors or new display sizes, that usually comes with a price jump as well. So it's almost inevitable that the prices will increase, but if they have ProMotion, I would be more than okay with it, and I'll forget about the 5G crap. Let me know what you guys think of the iPhone upgrades this year being kind of substantial, just inside and out. A lot of catch up with what the rest of the market is doing, and we all know that people appreciate form factor changes because it's the first time they're kind of stepping away from that template iPhone 6 looking design. But all that good stuff, let me know what you're thinking by hitting me up over on Twitter, joining my Discord, and above all this, Apple, can you at least adopt USB-C? That's all I care about. I don't care about this 5G crap. This is your Apple Sheep here. I'll see you in the next one.